Hey everyone. So today what we're going to do is test out these gluten-free flours, see how much water we have to add to make it at each of the stages that I did for the gluten flours, and then we can see how close each of the gluten-free flours is to the gluten flours by the amount of water that they each absorb. This is going to help us a lot figure out which one is best in which recipe. All right, let's jump into it. Just got done doing the white gold gluten-free all-purpose flour trials. And so what I'm doing is I am comparing those with the regular flour, all-purpose flour, whole wheat flour, and so on. So one thing that I noticed here is that it is significantly lighter than any of the others when you talk about just the 1 cup of flour, dry weight before we've done anything else to it. It is significantly lighter than the regular flour. And then when we talk about how much water we needed to add to get to the crumble stage, we had a 60 grams of water we had to add to get it to the crumble stage, where the most we had to do with any flour was 31 grams when it had the gluten. And that went all the way down to as little as 5 grams. And the average on those was around 15. And so having to add 60 grams of water to the white gold all-purpose gluten-free flour is significantly more than the others. It's twice as much as even whole wheat, which had the most of all of the gluten flours. But then when we start to look at the dough, all-purpose flour needed to add 66 grams, and the whole wheat had to add 87 grams. And so the white gold all-purpose gluten-free flour needed 107 grams. And so that's actually not too far off. So it looks like for the dough, white gold all-purpose gluten-free flour is somewhat similar to whole wheat flour when you're looking at these. So if you're following a recipe where you need a dough, it might be that whole wheat flour would have the same absorption levels. And then if we take a look at making a thick batter, like a cake batter sort of thing, we needed to add 223 grams of water to the flour in order to get it to that stage. And the most comparable one is going to be probably around the spelt flour. You know, the semolina is very similar, but I hesitate to compare this one because the textures are so far off. I just don't think that it would be a good match. But looking at spelt, took 227 grams of water to get to that stage. Another one, let's see, the whole wheat was 278 grams. So again, we are looking at just a little bit off, but in the other direction from the dough. And then for the thin batter, we needed 307 grams of water to make it a thin batter, or a batter like a pancake batter, right? And the closest one there is again the spelt flour, which needed 297. Again, though, the semolina needed 328 grams, so it's got that similar absorption rate, but I just don't think that the white gold would be a good replacement for it, just because of the difference in textures and the difference in what you're going to be using it. But looking purely at water absorption, semolina is not a bad comparison. Whole wheat and spelt flours also came in very similarly. So white gold all-purpose gluten-free flour came out the most similarly to whole wheat, spelt, and semolina flour. All right, well, that was pretty interesting. We'll see you around next time.